and welcome to the You Unfolded Live and Learn. Today we're going to talk about foods for a healthy heart. So I am streaming here on Instagram, on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So give me a like if you're here, hearts if you're here as well. And remember, if you are on YouTube, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of these nutrition and well-being topics. And if you're not on YouTube, make sure you do subscribe so that you can have all the replays later on. So for those of you who don't know, I am Yentl Lega. I am a holistic dietitian and certified mental health professional. And I am passionate about you and your health, body, mind, and spirit. So today we are focusing on heart health and what foods, what nutrition is great to keep your heart healthy and strong. First of all, it is Heart Health Month, so that's why we're on this topic, but also, I mean, our heart is really our livelihood. I mean, really and truly, if it stops pumping, it stops working, we stop living, literally. So, hi Ashley, and hi my friends over here as well that are logging in. So we're gonna be actually talking about what's gonna help keep the most important organ in your body strong, because yes, we want to keep living and living strong. So actually what I like to do is really just focus on the foods to add in, because anytime we think of a particular diet, usually people with heart conditions, so my ladies out there who have heart conditions, they're also better known as cardiac issues. That's how our doctors also mention it to us. They mention, okay, you got to follow a cardiac diet. And one of the first things that comes to mind with diets is, okay, great, what do I have to get rid of? What do I have to stop eating? What is it that I love that I can't eat anymore? And I'm here to tell you that we're going to focus not on, there isn't anything you can't eat, first of all. There isn't anything you can't eat. There's no such thing as a good food or a bad food. And the only foods that are bad are if you're allergic or intolerant, your body doesn't react well to it, or you don't like it. Those are really the only bad foods. So when it comes to nutrition, we focus more on what to add in to really help boost your health, and we're going to focus on what's going to boost your heart. So first of all, one of the main things to focus on is fiber. So a lot of people also, when they think of fiber, they think of mainly the grains, which I'll get into in just a moment. But fiber, you get it primarily, you can get these from your vegetables and your fruits. So focusing on adding more of these to your meals, more of them daily, it's actually going to protect your heart, because what fiber does, it helps to reduce cholesterol, it helps to reduce your blood pressure, keep you at a great blood pressure, which both cholesterol and blood pressure are good indicators of how your heart is doing. So it keeps your heart healthy by adding in more fiber. So apart from your vegetables and your fruit, there's also the legumes. So those are your beans, peas, and lentils. There's a saying, every time I think of beans, there's a saying that says, beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you, I'm sure you can, you can fill in the blank on that one. But yes, it is very true, because again, they're very rich in fiber, which is also going to be really great for your heart. So any way that you're able to fit those in, if you can tolerate them, then fit them right in, because it's going to be really good for your heart. The next thing, so now we're going into what fiber, Ashley, you like that, huh? So now with the fiber, apart from your vegetables and your fruits and your legumes, there's your grains, which most of us, that's the first thing that comes to mind with fiber. We think, okay, wheat. We think of like the whole wheat pastas and brown rice, like we just think of that mainly, which yes, it does contain fiber as well. but primarily the fruits, veggies, and your legumes are going to have a lot more vitamins and minerals for you. So you want to focus on those first, then go to the grains. Now, I like to mention the acronym BROW, like your eyebrow, to remember what are whole grains. So B will be for bran or buckwheat or, oh my gosh, barley. I was trying to remember the other one. Bran, buckwheat, or barley. Buckwheat. Bran, buckwheat, or barley, guys. Whew. Okay, I'm getting tongue-tied. So that's B. R for rye, O for oatmeal, and W for wheat. So the acronym BROW I find is a very easy way to remember your whole grain. So if you're trying to figure out with cereals, for example, or crackers or breads, you're trying to figure out, well, is this a good source of fiber? Anything that falls into that category of BROW would be a good source of fiber, apart from the other things that we just mentioned earlier. So fiber is a great one to start adding in to protect your heart. The next thing to start adding in to protect your heart are your omega-3 fatty acids. So I know this sounds like so technical. Usually they are known out there as your good fats. And again, like I said earlier, I don't believe in good and bad foods, because everything has a role in our bodies, and the only thing that's bad is the things that don't fall good to you and your body. So these, I like to consider them the anti-inflammatory. Yes, Ashley, you said salmon. Yes, so salmon is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. It's the kind of fat that is anti-inflammatory to the body. It's considered an essential fatty acid. And essential means that you could only obtain it through your diet, and you have to consume it in some form daily. And I know that sounds a little crazy. It's like, well, don't you consume just about all your vitamins and minerals? Well, yes and no. I mean, there are certain vitamins and minerals that, depending on what you eat, your body can create it. And also think of like vitamin D. The sun can give you vitamin D. So you're not eating anything, but you're getting some vitamins from it. So essential fatty acid is something that you can only get by eating it. And anti-inflammatory is great because you want to reduce inflammation in the body. By reducing inflammation, again, it reduces your blood pressure, it reduces your cholesterol. So this helps a lot for your heart. So the foods that contain these omega-3 fatty acids, Ashley, you mentioned one of them is salmon. So fish in general contains these omega-3s, but there are certain fish that contain more of it. So salmon is one, tuna is another one, mackerel, not the king mackerel, which I'll get to in a moment, but mackerel, trout, sardines, and anchovies. These are the fish that have a higher fat content, and by having the higher fat content, they have the omega-3 fat. So these are great to consume. Now, if you don't eat fish or don't like fish, there are other foods that have omega-3s. So nuts and seeds. So any form of nuts and seeds, again, just like the fish, are going to have omega-3 fatty acids. There are some that have more than others, but any form of nuts and seeds, I always say go for what you like. You know, don't eat something that you don't like just because they tell you it's good for you, because it's not going to be good for you if you don't like it, if you're not enjoying it. So any form of nuts and seeds that you like, and it could be in the form of nut butters or seed butters. Like nowadays, we don't just have peanut butter anymore. We have almond butter, we have cashew butter, we have sunflower seed butter, we have all types of butters now with the nuts and seeds. But also the oils that come from these nuts and seeds. So one of the things with oils, though, there are certain ones that are better for cooking than others. Not that they're healthier, it's just they're better for cooking because they take high heat better. So a lot of us know about olive oil. So olives is another one that is not really a nut or a seed, but it has omega-3s, olive and avocados. So now the oils from all of these, from your nuts and seeds and from the avocados and the olive oil, they're great because they have omega-3s. However, the olive oil, unless it's a really extra virgin, really good high quality, which does tend to get a little bit on the pricey side the more high quality you get, it doesn't take high heat very well. So you can do medium to low heat with it. Of course, use it for salads and things like that. But when you're roasting, for example, going to really high temperatures, it's not the most stable oil to cook with. So it's best to use one that is. So avocado oil is one. I will tell you my favorite one. Avocado oil is great, but it does tend to be on the pricey side. A little tip, a great place where you can find avocado oil for cheaper is actually in Marshall's, TJ Maxx, or Home Goods. Like in their food section, they tend to have avocado oil pretty often, and very, very affordable, very cheap. So that's where I get it. So avocado oil, but my favorite one is grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil takes high heat very well. It has the omega-3s as well. And what I love about it is that it's a bland oil, which means that it's not going to add any flavor to your food, which is great. You can cook anything with it, because things like olive oil or even coconut oil, which a lot of people tend to hype up, I don't like using those. Avocado oil is very, very greasy in my opinion. Not saying that this is expert opinion. You know, in my opinion, I find it's a little greasy and it tastes like coconut. You don't want to cook certain things with coconut oil. So yes, is avocado oil good for cooking chicken breast? Absolutely. So avocado oil is a great one. It takes high heat very well. It's great to roast with, and you know, you can do whatever with avocado oil. It's a really stable oil, as well as grapeseed oil, the one that I was talking about. The reason why grapeseed oil is my favorite is simply because, first of all, it's bland, and the price point is a really good price point. It's similar to getting olive oil. So it's not incredibly expensive like avocado oil can be sometimes. So now we talked about the fibers, we talked about the omega-3 fatty acids. The next thing that you definitely want to add in are your herbs and spices. This is going to be not only an awesome experience to start adding herbs and spices to your food, but it helps you to use less salt, which is a concern with heart issues. So anytime you have any heart issues, that it's very common to be on a salt restriction, or they call it a sodium restriction. So a way to be able to reduce the amount of salt that you use is to put in those herbs and spices. And the added benefit of these herbs and spices, believe it or not, because they are concentrated herbs and concentrated spices, or a lot of times they're concentrated veggies as well, you are getting such a potent punch of antioxidants. I mean, a ridiculous amount. So just to give you an idea, how many of you have heard that red wine is good for your heart? That because it has antioxidants, so it's good to drink red wine. So put your little hearts or likes or, you know, thumbs up if you've heard that before. So there is a thing called ORAC value, which is just basically telling you the amount of antioxidants in that food. Red wine has about 4,500, like rounding off a little bit. So yeah, Ashley has heard that before. So it has about 4,500. When you think about the herbs and spices, I mean, some of the lowest ones start at the 10,000s. I mean, even things like turmeric are in the 100,000s in terms of how much antioxidants they have. So it completely trumps out the red wine out of the picture for being good for antioxidants. So adding in these herbs and spices is going to not only give your food flavor, but it's going to give your body the antioxidants to help keep your body and your heart strong. So some of my favorite, I mean, I love cilantro, but it's I know cilantro is like not something that a lot of people like. There's oregano that I have all the time. I'm mentioning the ones that I have all the time in my pantry, but these are also high on the list for antioxidants. Turmeric is another one that's been getting a lot of buzz lately, but it's really great for adding into your foods as well. Ginger, garlic is another one, which I know very few people that don't like garlic, but it adds such great flavor to the foods. Thyme is another one that's delicious. Rosemary. So all of these spices and herbs can add such a punch of flavor and really, really give your body tons of nutrients to keep your heart strong and healthy. So this brings me to another thing to add in, which is different forms of cooking. So, and moving away from frying and actually baking, broiling, steaming, sauteing, because sauteing is okay. You're not deep frying it in oil. So roasting, these are all just incredible ways to cook your, not just the meats, but your vegetables. Oh my gosh, roasted vegetables are my favorite. They're just absolutely delicious. I hate steamed vegetables. I cannot stand steamed vegetables. I would not eat steamed vegetables, but I love them sauteed, roasted, baked. So the same thing with meats. I hear a lot of people that I mean, a lot of the patients that I have worked with, they have said, you know, that they boil their chicken, that they eat boiled meats because they were told, you know, to keep it low on the fat. And so they feel like they can't add any oil or just cook it any other way but boiling. No, you can cook it, move away from the frying and do more of these other forms of cooking. And believe me, you keep the amazing flavors of these foods and you still keep it heart healthy. So those are the main things to add in: the fiber, the omega-3 fatty acids, the herbs and spices, the different forms of cooking. And there are a couple things to limit, but naturally when you're adding in these things, the other things are going to be less. So for example, the salt. The salt is one of the ones that is a lot of the times limited, and it's low salt, guys, not no salt. So do keep that in mind, because a lot of the patients that I have worked with, they've gotten into their mind that it's no salt and no fat, and they really start to obsess about what has salt and what doesn't, and they feel like they can't eat anything. And it's not like that. It's low salt. Your body still needs a level of sodium, a level of salt. So going for the low salt is when you're adding more of these spices, leaving the salt out of the cooking process and leaving it just for last if it needs it. So after you've cooked with all your spices and everything and you're sitting down to eat and the food feels like it needs it, then you can sprinkle the salt on it. You tend to use less salt that way than if you use it in the cooking process. Another thing is your canned foods and frozen pre-prepped meals. Go for the ones that say low sodium. So it doesn't mean you cannot have these at all, but try to reach for the ones that say low sodium on it. And if it's hard to find something that you like that says low sodium, for canned goods, for example, try to rinse them. So if you get a can of beans, rinse the beans in water, rinse it out. That rinses out a lot of the sodium that's in it. So rinse it before you use it. And with frozen veggies, try to get the ones that aren't already pre-seasoned. Get ones that are just the frozen veggies and you season it. Experiment with these herbs and spices and these different ways of cooking. And you experiment with the flavors and you end up again having less salt. So, oh yes, George mentioned grilled. Sorry, I forgot. Another form of cooking is grilled. So absolutely, that's a delicious way to have your veggies and your meats. And my mom is saying, listening for now, sorry, oh, okay, she got an accident, there was an accident going home, so she's now listening. Okay, thank you for listening in, Mom, and I'm glad you made it home safely. And then the other thing to limit, sorry about that, the other thing to limit is alcohol. So that's why I mentioned the red wine earlier, because some patients I've talked to before in the past weren't red wine drinkers, and because they heard that it's good for their heart and they have heart issues, add it in. And that's not something I would recommend to add in if it's not something that you already do. And also there could be some contraindications with the alcohol and certain medications you may be on if you're on medications. So alcohol is something to limit. Like I said before, red wine is not the cure-all for your heart. There are other foods that have a lot higher antioxidants than red wine does. I mean, even just blueberries alone, or most of your berries alone, have a much higher, almost more than double the amount of antioxidants than red wine does. So these are the foods to focus on for a healthy heart. Do leave me in the comments below, what is it that surprised you the most out of these foods? And if there are any that you plan on adding in a little bit more to strengthen the most important organ in your body. So do make sure you like this video. If you did, do make sure you like this video, share with somebody who you feel could use this information, and do subscribe so that we can provide you with more. And I say we because my husband's in the background, but so we can provide you with more of these topics, nutrition and well-being tips to just help you find your healthy, balanced, and beauty-filled life. So I will be back here tomorrow. I keep wanting to say tomorrow. I'll be back here next week, again, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And actually, it's going to be a live cooking demo. So it's going to be a heart-healthy snack. And do tune in for that next week. And remember to silence the standards, because you are more. Bye, everybody.